Aziza woke up feeling very confused and dizzy. She looked around and did not know where she was at first. It was a small, plain room with white walls. She was lying on a hard bed. "Where am I?" she said out loud in a tired voice. "You're in the hospital, dear," said a kind female voice. A nurse in blue clothes came over to Aziza's bed. "You're going to be okay. You got hurt pretty bad out there in those woods." Memories started coming back to Aziza. The bad jungle, the monster swamps, fighting the evil river monster to save her son's spirit. She gasped and tried to sit up quickly. "Take it easy," the nurse said, gently pushing her back down. "You've been sleeping for 2 days. We found you naked and confused, covered in cuts and scratches out by the old river bend." Aziza shook her head, feeling worried. No, you don't understand. I have to get back to the special lake." The nurse gave her a worried look. "Dear, you were very dehydrated, malnourished, and it seemed like you had a bad head injury. We're just glad you're alive right now. There haven't been any special lakes around here for a very long time." Aziza opened her mouth to protest, but the nurse continued in a calming tone. "Why don't you just rest for now? Your family is here and they've been really worried about you." At those words, Aziza's heart jumped. She hadn't seen her parents and siblings she couldn't even remember how long. A few moments later, the door opened and her mother rushed in, followed by her father and little brother. Tears streamed down her mother's face as she pulled Aziza into a tight hug. "My baby, we thought we'd lost you forever." Aziza hugged her back tightly, feeling lots of emotions. Her father and brother joined in the hug, all of them laughing and crying at the same time. For a few minutes, nothing else mattered except being reunited with her loved ones. When they finally pulled away, Aziza's dad looked at her with red eyes. "Where in the world have you been, Aziza? You've been missing for over 2 months." 2 months? Aziza's mind reeled at that news. She tried to gather her thoughts, to explain what had happened. "Papa, I know this is going to sound unbelievable, but I was in the old bad jungle upriver. It started when I had a vision of Kamari." "Kamari? Who is Kamari?" her mother asked in wonder. Aziza told her family everything that happened. She told them about the bad dreams she had about her dead son's spirit being trapped. She told them about following his voice into the jungle. She told them the big journey where she fought bad spirits and monsters to break an old river curse. She said she became one with the river's goddess spirit and is now the protector of the river forever. When she finished talking, her family just stared at her for a long time. They looked very surprised. Aziza's face turned red because she wondered if she said too much about her spiritual awakening. Finally, Aziza's father shook his head slowly. "My dear daughter, something terrible must have happened to you alone in the wilderness. We are just happy you are alive with us now, even if you are not fully well." Aziza frowned. "But Papa, I am telling the truth. We understand, sweetheart," her mother said, gently shushing her and stroking her cheek. "Your mind had to make sense of things in its own way when you were so sick and delirious in the jungle. We will help you get better, and you can forget about those jungle demons and river spirit stories." Aziza looked at her brother, hoping he would believe her, but he just stared at the floor and did not look at her. Aziza was frustrated, so she threw off her covers and got out of the bed with surprising strength. This startled her family. Even though everything hurt, she stood up straight, feeling very determined. "You have to listen to me, all of you," she said firmly. "Everything I said is true about Kamari the jungle evils, the goddess awakening in me. I don't expect you to fully understand right now, but you'll see." Then Aziza turned and walked out of the hospital room, down the hallways with rooms for people recovering. Her worried family hurried to follow her as she went outside into the bright sun. Cars were zooming by on the street in front of the tall hospital. The loud city noises surrounded them. Car horns, helicopters overhead, shouts from construction sites far away. Aziza did not pay attention to any of it. Instead, she walked toward the trees of the nature area next to the hospital property. She walked with purpose. "Aziza, please stop," her mother cried, grabbing her arm. "Where are you going? You need to rest inside." Her father put his hand on her shoulder. "Aziza, you cannot be serious. You were almost dead when they found you. Going back into those woods would be crazy." "I have to go," Aziza said calmly. "It is my destiny to protect the sacred lands and waters as their immortal guardian." Aziza's little brother Raj spoke in a quiet voice. "Jesus Christ! Aziza, the things you're saying do not make any sense. Monsters and bad spirits? River spirits? You are scaring us." Aziza looked at Raj with sad eyes. "I know it sounds crazy, but everything I saw was real. During my journey, I found an old power, one that has been in our family's blood for hundreds of years." She put her hands on her chest, feeling a strange energy moving through her body. "The river goddess woke up inside me. She showed me wonderful things and scary things. I joined with her life force, becoming her new person on Earth. My baby, what bad thing happened to you out there?" her mother cried. Shaking her head firmly, Aziza said, "I am not hurt or seeing things that aren't real, Mother. My mind has never been more clear. I have been reborn with an important purpose that goes beyond this normal world, and I must go back to the jungle to do my special duties before something bad happens." With that, Aziza turned and walked towards the trees again with strong steps. Her family watched in shocked silence for a moment before her father shouted, "Security! Stop that woman! She's not well!" Two big hospital security guards came over, moving to block Aziza before she reached the woods. "Ma'am, you need to stop right there," one of them said roughly. "Let's get you back inside where it's safe." Aziza tried to get away from the men, but was eventually stopped, and she stood at a place with folded arms and an angry look. Her family rushed to her again, and the mother began crying, looking directly into her eyes. "Aziza, my precious child, this is madness. It was all a dream. You have never been pregnant. Why always talking about Kamari? And you have never left this city to any village. Jesus Christ. Aziza, what you had or feel you are was all a dream, because of your fall in the forest. Come back to us, my child." Tears streamed down Aziza's cheeks as she put her head down in disappointment. "But it all seems real, and it never felt like I was dreaming any of it." Aziza looked up at her family with tears in her eyes. "I know how unbelievable this all sounds, but I swear to you everything I saw was real. The jungle, the bad spirits, joining with the river goddess. It felt more vivid than any dream." Her father put his arm around her shoulders. "Honey, we want to believe you, but what you're describing, it simply can't be true. You must have had some kind of very hot dream or seen things that weren't real out there in the woods." Raj stepped forward slowly. "Sis, you've always had such an incredible imagination. Maybe this is just an extreme fantasy your mind made up when you got lost and dehydrated." Aziza felt utterly sad and confused as her family begged her to accept that her spiritual awakening had just been an intense dream, or seeing things that weren't real. She couldn't understand how they couldn't believe her after everything she had witnessed and experienced. The security guards made Aziza go back inside the hospital, even though she did not want to. Her parents decided it would be best if she stayed at the hospital so doctors could check her mind and watch her. Aziza protested a lot, but she was too weak to fight much after her scary time. Over the next few days, the doctors did various tests on Aziza, and she talked to counselors while taking medication to keep her calm. She tried explaining her story again, but the doctors just nodded and wrote notes about her seeming disconnected from reality. Finally, after a week at the hospital with no other issues, Aziza's parents took her home. Her mother fussed over her constantly, happy to have her daughter back safe, even if she seemed a bit off. Aziza's father was more doubtful, worried that she may have permanent damage to her mind from being alone in those woods. Aziza spent her days feeling numb and lifeless. She no longer felt the power of the river goddess inside her. The vivid memories of the cursed jungle and the fantastical beings she met were starting to fade and feel like a far-off dream. Had she just imagined it all while dehydrated and feverish? One night after everyone else went to bed, Aziza went into the backyard under the full moon. She stared up at the glowing moon in the dark sky and whispered a prayer to the river spirit, begging for a sign that she hadn't gone crazy, that her awakening was real. Just then, Aziza's little brother Raj screamed from inside in terror that made her blood run cold. Aziza raced inside to find Raj cowering in the hallway, pointing a shaking finger towards the living room. Monster! There was a monster in there, he cried hysterically. The rest of the family came running and turned on the living room light. There in the middle of the floor was a large pile of damp soil and plants, the kind found in a thick jungle, and pushed into the dirt were massive footprints, the prints of some huge, unhuman creature. Aziza's mother screamed, and her father immediately called the police. As the shaken family huddled together, Aziza stared at the mysterious footprints with dawning realization. The cursed jungle had found her again. Her spiritual awakening had been real after all, and the ancient evil forces she failed to defeat were coming for her. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you were captivated by the story I shared in this video, then make sure to hit that subscribe button below. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when I upload new content, ensuring you never miss out on another compelling story. Don't forget to also turn on notifications so you're always in the loop. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.